Hi and welcome to this edition of Back in History. I do hope you are doing fine as always. In Back in History, we take you back in time to the events that occurred in the historical past. We also bring to you the profile and biographies of personalities who have been through the corridors of history. In this edition, we bring to you the profile and the life and time of Hosni Mubarak, who ruled for 30 years as president of Egypt until he was compelled to step down from his seat by protesters during the Egyptian Revolution of 2011. Hosni Mubarak was born in Egypt on 4th May 1928. He attended elementary and secondary schools in the same country. He later enrolled in the military academy and later moved to the Air Force Academy, where he trained and qualified as a pilot. He later went further in his educational pursuit and received a bachelor's degree in aviation sciences. Mubarak went on with his career in the Egyptian Air Force and served in various formations and units of the Air Force. He was later posted to the Air Force Academy as a flight instructor. He remained here till 1959. In June of the same year, he was sponsored by the Egyptian government through the Air Force to attend further pilot training in the then Soviet Union. He remained in Moscow for about 5 years and earned several certifications in aviation sciences. He was qualified to fly fighter jets and commercial planes. He then returned to Egypt, where he received promotion to the rank of wing commander. In November 1967, he was appointed as the commander of the Egyptian Air Force Academy. In 1969, he became the chief of Air Staff and the man in charge of the command structure in the Air Force of his country. In 1972, he was appointed as the Deputy Minister of Defense in Egypt. During the Yom Kippur War, the Egyptian Air Force under Mubarak recorded huge successes against the Israeli side, and Hosni Mubarak became an instant hero in Egypt. The name Mubarak began to gain remarkable attention in Egypt, and in April 1975, the then president of the country, Anwar Sadat, appointed Mubarak as the vice president of the country. Mubarak soon gained the trust and confidence of President Sadat and was allowed to represent the president on several occasions during overseas assignments. Whenever the president traveled for vacation, he transferred the decision-making authority to Mubarak till the president returned from vacation. In October 1981, President Sadat was assassinated by soldiers led by a young military officer, Lieutenant Khalil Islamboli. Mubarak was injured in the process but braved up to assume the seat of power, thus becoming the 4th president of Egypt. Mubarak governed Egypt from then on for many years till 2011, when he was forced out of office by popular uprising. It has been recorded that during his reign as president, Mubarak increased the construction of affordable housing for his people and advocated for the accommodation of the poor and vulnerable members of the Egyptian society. He made available to the people furniture, medicine, and clothing. He considered these items as basic and maintained that no one should lack them. He expanded the Egyptian State Security Investigation Service and the Central Security Investigation Service. He was also heavily criticized and accused of perpetuating himself in power for years on end. His regime was also accused of fundamental rights abuses. He maintained a hard stance against fundamentalists and promised never to have any relationship whatsoever with Israel. He soon became the target of assassination, and during his tenure as president, Mubarak survived 6 assassination attempts. Each of these assassination attempts almost claimed his life. Mubarak was a prominent member of the Organization of African Unity. He was a friend to the US and met with several US presidents. He continued in power for 30 years, from 1981 to 2011. Protests against Mubarak erupted in Cairo, the capital of Egypt, in early January 2011. The demand of the protesters was that Mubarak had stayed in power for too long and should exit without further delay. The protests went on for days, and in no time it began to spread to other parts of the country. All efforts by the military and the police to end the protest proved abortive. The people were united in their request for an end to the regime of Hosni Mubarak. Mubarak responded and said that he will not resign until the election in September of the said year. These statements sparked more protests, and a day after the statement, Mubarak instructed his vice president at the time, Omar Suleiman, to announce Mubarak's resignation. This marked the end of the 30-year rule of one of Africa's longest-serving leaders, Hosni Mubarak. He was thereafter arrested and charged to court along with his son. They were found guilty by the trial court. But in March 2, 2017, the Court of Appeal in Egypt acquitted and discharged Mubarak. On 24th March, Mubarak was released from custody. He lived quietly and refused every request by the media for him to grant press interview. On 25th February 2020, it was announced to the world that Hosni Mubarak had passed on in a Cairo military hospital at the age of 91. Mubarak was given full military honors in a state funeral held in his honor at the Tantawi Mosque in eastern Cairo. This marked the end of the earthly sojourn of President Hosni Mubarak. Mubarak was married to his wife Susan Mubarak, and together they had 2 children, Allah and Gamal. Thanks for watching this edition of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel or follow the page for regular notification on every new video.